that, my friends, never stops us from saying, welcome to the Things to Think About podcast, the ADHD podcast, where we say the quiet part out loud. Duck. Threw him off for a second. Have you ever thought about the things that you think about? Well, tonight we're going to be talking about some things that you might think about. Have you ever sold anything online? Have you ever been offered for somebody to buy something from you for cheaper because they're willing to drive to you? Let's see how we feel about that. And in that regard, recently he had this happen. Why is there so much lint all over my hat? Anyways, ADHD podcast, Viking. You're the one that brought up this topic. It kind of pissed you off with some stuff. What you got?
Well, oh yeah, like I go to sell something and I'm like, oh yeah, it's $100. And obviously, like I have you always list things a little bit higher so that you get the amount of money that you're looking
Ever
for.
so slightly, yeah.
I listed it for $100. I expected to get 70. How you gonna
60 to
come to
80,
me?
yeah.
How you gonna come to me and go, oh, if I drive to you, will you drop the price to 40? No. That's not how it works. You either drive to me anyway, or we meet somewhere pre-designated. Like I'm selling you something. It's it's at both of our convenience. You don't come to me going, "Hey," you don't drive to the store and go, "Hey, I drove here. Let me get it for half the price."
Yeah.
Like just because I'm not a store doesn't mean you come to me and asking for, half the price because you had to drive to me. I just bought a 3D printer. Yes, I offered less, but I didn't say, "Hey, let me pay half the price because I have to drive to you."
That would have been really
Like,
rude anyways. He only lived like a couple of miles down the road.
oh no, the 3D printer was an hour away.
Oh, okay, never mind. But still,
But like still,
yeah.
I drove to them and picked it up from their house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna go, "Hey, well, I see you got it listed for 125. Can I give you $100? Oh, but I have to drive to you. Can I give you 50?" Like, no, that's not how it works.
And I think that's a pretty common thing that, we've had happen with other things that we've sold. There was what was it? I was selling that Xbox. And it doesn't just necessarily affect only like the if I'm willing to drive to you, would you sell it for cheaper? Well, it's just sitting here taking up space, man. Like I'm waiting for it when it's ready. Like, when the right person comes along, they're not going to be bartering with me. And that's the mentality that I go for. Um is
And
that concept where like they're not going to
and
barter
by all rights and by all rights, if I'm selling something online, I expect you to barter. It's probably listed a certain way
with the
so
expectation of
that there
bartering.
is room of bartering. Because even when people say price is firm, you probably listed a little bit higher. Face it, that's just what people do. And I'm from New York. It's ingrained in my DNA to barter. I like to haggle, but at the same time, you need to know what you're haggling for. You got an Xbox listed. I'm not gonna come at you with a stupid price of, what, $40 they offered you?
Yeah, it was $40, and then I was like, no. They're like, well, does it come with a controller? It literally says in the listing comes as is in picture. No, it's just the Xbox. Like, if you want it with a controller, go over to GameStop or hop onto eBay. There's plenty of great options.
Or just look for another listing.
Or find another listing. Um, when I do things like, so I had a mod chipped Nintendo Switch, right? I had posted it up online for 190. It had the dock. It had everything is there. It is all it as you get it in the box from Nintendo when you bought it from the store or ordered directly from Nintendo. It just has a mod chip in there, trying to sell it for a little bit more because you can do homebrew games, which is what I enjoyed doing. the number of people that came at me going off and saying, I'll give you $80 for it is ridiculous. It's like, there's a certain level of like, don't be offensive to people. And I think that's kind of one of those important things to take into consideration is, you're wanting to buy something, find somebody willing to sell it. In the end, I just disabled the mod chip, and was like, I'm going to go ahead and try, doing it, for better. And then there's a whole shenanigan that went on with it, but like, at the end of the day, it was what it was, and I just moved on with my day.
On driving to somewhere where they didn't even give you the address, they just told you what the place was, and there was two of the places.
But it's like there's a certain level of haggling. And I wound up. So the end of that story was putting it back together to be remodded. And then that's going to go over to one of my buddies instead. Once I have the opportunity to do that, but it's like, so then I still needed to accomplish the goal that I wanted to accomplish. So I put together another Nintendo Switch that was all everything's back together, and sold that online. But I posted it for 120 because it's just a simple Nintendo Switch. Posted that back up online so this way I could accomplish my goal and hopefully accomplish my buddy's goal, and I have to finish working on that. But was able to sell it so this way I could get the thing that I wanted, which was a pair of headphones for my wife for our anniversary. So it's like I get the opportunity to do both. In my situation, I have a literal box right here under my feet full of dead Nintendo Switches. So it's a little bit easier. And I'm a little bit more willing to trade out and go a little bit lower. But this dude, super excited, wanted something to do for Thanksgiving. Saw the listing and goes, will you drive? Will you drop it off with me? I don't have a car. So he told me where he was, and I'm like, I drive straight past there to get home. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And made some magic happen, and I just got to make a little bit more magic happen. But that part's aside from the point. If you're watching, you know who you are. I love you very, very much, and thank you for your patience. Viking knows exactly who it is. So
I don't understand why people think that, oh, because I drive to you, it's cheaper. Listen, I've driven to people to drop things off to them, like you did with the Switch, and I don't still raise the price, and I'm wasting my own gas.
yeah,
So why would I drop the price to drive to you? I mean, for you to drive to me, it was your choice to message me to buy this.
yeah, that's one of those things. It's like yeah,
I
I've never raised the price on somebody. Like they go off and they're like, hey, can you drop it off? I live over this direction. And it's like, is it worth it for me to drive over there? Yeah, I'm fine with doing it. That's not the end of the world. I'll start up a DoorDash when I'm over that direction. That works for me. Like, can we do it at this
I
time of the
mean
day?
I mean, worst case scenario, say they're like an hour away. Maybe I'll be like, "Hey, do you mind throwing in like an extra $10?" $10
Yeah,
for me is a lot of gas.
yeah, because you have a Prius.
I drive a Prius. $10 is half my gas tank. But if I'm driving 150 miles, hey, throw me an extra $10. I'll drive to you. Don't worry about it. But I'm not gonna go, hey, yeah, give me, $40 extra because I have to drive. No, it's very specific things. You know, I have to drive an hour out of the way. I'm selling you something for $50. That $50 is probably worth way more than, asking for a couple extra bucks. Like, eh, I'll ask for it, but $50 to $60, you now you don't have to go break an extra 20.
I think one of the things is the concept of it more heavily leans on respect, right? Respect for the other person's time, respect for what they're offering. Sure, you're trying to, they might even be trying to like get a hold of something for cheap and then see if they can flip it for even more. And it's like that's not the deal, you know. You're buying
Yeah.
it as is without your preconceived notions. And I don't know if it necessarily speaks heavily towards society and the way that society is going, as much as maybe I'd like to proclaim that concept, but it does speak towards some aspects of those individuals, especially because a lot of times they get really defensive when you're like, no, I'm not willing to drive that far. Then they get like they start like harassing you about it a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, but I can't, there's no way for me to get out there to you. It's like, well, then shop in a place near you. I've had people be like, well, no, I live in Orlando. So then I go off and find the same listing option, something similar to mine, you know, in Orlando. And it's like, now you don't have to drive 2 hours. Here you go.
I mean, by all rights, I've listed things online recently that I didn't realize that I was still in the place I used to live. And people would be messaging me like, "Hey, I want to get this," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. That's like 3.5 hours away from me.
Yeah.
I listed it in the wrong place." You know, and most people are like, "Oh, that's okay. Sorry about wasting your time. Sorry about wasting my time. I'll fix that so it doesn't happen again." You know, it's the people that, start flipping out like, "Oh, I was looking forward to buying this." Well, like, we never even talked. How are you looking forward to buying something?
You don't even know if it's still available.
Okay.
Like I could be currently waiting in a parking lot for somebody, like what do you mean you were looking forward to it? Is that was the highlight of your day? Do me a favor, go get yourself a Twinkie. It's probably going to make you feel just as good, okay?
I had to plug my mouse back in it. It was dying, but I just blows my mind, man. Like, respect. Like, at the end of the day, it's the people that respect you that are gonna buy the stuff from you.
Well, and I think that translates really well into, like I had said, where I don't think that it's necessarily like a example of like our culture or something like that. So much as it is kind of an example of people, right? Which is part of the reason why so zombies in the middle of, not feeling so great. I'm dealing with getting over the flu, so I was prepared to do the episode by myself tonight. So I'm the one that picked it for tonight, but Viking was the one that actually typed it out inside of our idea Bible. Um, so my concept that I was going to go into it, which is being careful about who you give your time to in life, right? So
Oh, definitely.
yeah, and it's kind of learning to see those people in your life where they're obviously more so in it for themselves in the relationship for their own benefit. And then relationships are two-sided. There is a benefit for me and Viking to be friends, right? Whether we live together like we do now or we don't. There is a benefit for me and Viking to be friends. He looks after me, I look after him. There's value there, right? Like ignoring the fact that he's married to my daughter and the father of my granddaughter, like ignoring those factors, there is a value to that friendship, right? And there are people that me and Viking respectively have cut off between people that we both knew together, and independent from each other. And it's like identifying those issues, right? And realizing the person that without that you're dealing with in your personal life that is essentially saying, hey, will you lower the price if I drive to you? So I think there's a level of kind of wisdom on that. And I wanted to know like what your thoughts are, because both of us have cut people out of our lives where it's like, yeah, this was a crucial person and we're like, Like you, I'm done. Screw you, I'm done.
Oh, definitely. And we don't need that's one of those things that we don't need to get on. Either in a podcast or live on stream. But some of those people are
No, not the person. I don't want you to talk about the person. I was more so like saying like what were like signs where you're like this person's not, generalistic,
when
not.
when you ask for help and they go, "Oh well." That's
So
pretty
they
much
don't
it.
drive to you at 2:00 in the morning when you run out of gas.
Listen,
Listen, there are plenty of
listen,
things that you give me crap for,
you
okay?
told me over and over again, you need me, call me. You might have to call me 2 or 3 times. I was testing you.
Bull crap. That gas tank sure cost a lot for testing me. Especially because you've had plenty of other scenarios where, like, how about my brother's house? How many times did we fly down the road for him, breaking the law just to make sure that we could probably try and catch the sucker that's in the house or something like that?
Or, hiding out in the woods for,
Oh my
3,
God.
4 hours.
It was like 28 degrees that night. Everybody has on thermals and hoodies and coats over the top and boots that we're wearing. And this guy had been breaking in on a pattern. Unfortunately, that day, something happened and he didn't break in that night. He broke in the night after. And we sat there watching the house from every possible angle. Peach Rings is on the back porch. And the back porch is this just like wooden back porch, but it's bricked in, right? But all of the air that's coming in from the vents underneath that keep, the underneath the house with good airflow, so this way mold and whatnot don't build up. All of that is coming up into her, and it's it's freezing. And we're just sitting there and we're all on the phone together, whispering the entire time. Hey, I think I heard something. No, it was a fucking raccoon. Sure, it was a raccoon. Guys, I'm cold. The air.
I four of us were outside, one of us was inside, like
just waiting, just in case, just in the basement. One of us was inside in the basement.
One downstairs. No, there was actually 2 of us inside. There was one upstairs.
Yeah, there was
and
one upstairs.
One in the basement.
And you were the one in the basement, just sitting there. No, Chris was.
Nope. You and Chris was upstairs.
And I was
watching out the windows.
Yeah.
I was in the basement.
Yeah.
You were
outside in the backyard
outside
by the Mini Cooper.
Because I was sitting in the pitch black against what used to be a garage door. And I was just sitting there, pitch black, can't see a thing, waiting.
I promise you the phone call that we were on was very valuable to the people that were inside waiting. Meanwhile, my brother has moved inside during one portion of the night and then moved back outside. And he is full ghillie suited up. It was beautiful. It's one of those times that's worth remembering.
Yeah.
So yeah, no. But like, okay, so one of those things, I had a situation where I've had actually 2 situations. Me and my wife are, to our detriment, very giving towards people. Would you disagree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah, no, I knew what you meant by yeah. To our detriment, we are very giving towards people. And I had a situation where somebody that was close to us went off and said that I need to remember my place or something of that nature. And I was like, oh, okay, not a problem. That's perfectly fine. And I'm cordial because of, relationships that are there and people that don't have my opinions. Or people that can't have my opinion, the circumstances. I'm very cordial about it, But yeah, no. Okay, fine. Sweet. I'm just, that's a relationship that you lost when I'm very much so heavily focused on making sure that I, you know, help you where I can help you. So, but we've also had situations where you run into manipulative individuals, right? And these individuals can be very difficult to discern that they're manipulative. One of them I recently made the decision on cutting out actively despises me, but unfortunately, due to circumstances, I couldn't be really as much of an a-hole as what I usually am. Yeah, I think that works. So when it's obvious that the relationship is very much so one-sided, or it's obvious that the relationship is one-sided and that individual thinks that they are the one that is in charge of that connection, especially when it comes to nerds like us, where it's like, hey, we try to be accepting of every possible direction or creed. It's hard to remember, like, maybe worth cutting off those types of relationships. You good? You gonna die? You fine?
I'm good.
So, uh, kind of a slight nothing burger of an episode. I figured we'd be a little bit better on here. Do you have any points that you want to bring up? 'Cause so far we've complained about selling stuff online and understanding, when to cut off relationships.
I mean,
Sorry.
again, I mean, this week was kind of, off for both of us. So,
Oh yeah.
you're sick. I'm dealing with uh side effects from medications and, throwing my whole week off. Uh, but I mean,
I say nothing
I'm
burger. I
still
I don't. Okay, Java decides that it wants to interrupt the party. Apparently, Java's running an update right now. Sure, Java. Okay, and you do you. You be the powerhouse that you need to be, okay? Not in
but
the
I
middle
mean,
of my stream.
as far as like people, the respect people should be giving versus, you know, what we get on a day-to-day basis. I mean, that's at the end of the day, it's like, you know, our friendship works because we have respect for each other. Um, we don't, blame each other for things like, this has been a really off week for the both of us. And we both understand that. Like, I haven't been streaming. I haven't even been at my computer in what, 9, 10 days.
I have been editing videos. I've got 3 videos in the pipeline. My voice is completely destroyed right now. Like I could do it, but even I have respiratory issues not related to my vaping or former smoking. I've had them since I was like 7 years old, I think. So cutting out me breathing in out of videos is a nightmare when I'm well.
Mm.
So, Viking can attest to it. He's watched me sit there and slowly going through and pulling out little itty bitty blips of me inhaling for hours.
Yeah.
And a few make it through, and I miss them, and I'm like, I have to just accept that they're okay. Human beings breathe. Um,
We do?
that's what I hear, at least. That's what I mean. Of course, we breathe. Yes, I was human once. I am human. But like it's so I've been working on that. I have been alone in this office that we call this garage that we call an office, this office that we call a garage, whatever direction it is. I have been alone for like over a week. I've got I'll say it here on the podcast. I have a video for Sketchy's contract that's coming out. It's a short, like 3 to 4 minute video. It's not going to be anything super long. unless I get a message back from Halo, Forgotten Halo, which is the dev of that game. I've got a video that I'm working on for Half-Life, and I have a video that I'm working on for Halo 2. And then I'll be working on one for ODST after. So like there's that. And then I think I have like 2 or 3 other little episodes that I plan on doing, and I've just got them started. But I don't consider that writing them because I've just got the outline. And I've been doing that all by myself until like 1 o'clock in the damn morning.
And all you'll see of me is I'll come in, fill up my water, and go, good night, and walk back out.
Yep. And I'm like, okay,
I,
bud, have a good night.
I've been very much work during the day and then sleep all afternoon
Yeah.
because chemical imbalances are great, aren't they?
Yeah, I am unmedicated. I have the same problems he has mentally when it comes to that end of it. There's other ones like, you can't have hair like that without other mental issues. But like, I suffer from ADHD and Asperger's, right? And so like there's plenty of levels where things just don't work out or I get depressed. He'll notice it. Peach Rings notices it where it's like I'm just depressed, and it's like out of nowhere, and it's just that the ADHD has a depressive side to it as well. And when you're overwhelmed, it slams you, and then you have zero motivation, and it takes weeks to get back into place, and it just sucks.
Oh, and then they stick you on medications that just have these side effects of either nausea or sleepiness. And I've been sleeping an extra 4 to 6 hours a day. I'm sleeping more than half my day.
He's currently sleeping right now. I just
Oh
shoved a
yeah,
stick up his butt. No.
pulling the little strings to make me move and talk like we're Weekend at Bernie's
We're gonna burn it.
podcast.
But yeah. So, anyways. Have you ever thought about the things you think about?
Hey, that's the name of the podcast.